Wow. Talk about big news. The rumor that Harrison Ford is coming back to Star Wars to play a de-aged Han Solo. Thank you guys for coming by Echo Base Network today. Please subscribe to the channel for future Star Wars and news, entertainment, and updates. And if you haven't already, make sure that you hit that like button. Let the algorithm know that we are here. We've got Valiant Renegade in the house with us, brother to our channel, very valuable member here. We're going to get some business aspects to this rumor. Does this make sense? Nobody better to bring in than this. But Valiant, when you first saw the rumor right here, now I know a couple sites have this thing covered, and you see Harrison Ford, de-aged. Yeah. What we know about Shamook. How did you react to that as a fan, first of all?
Fan-wise, I was really excited. Really excited, and especially with the Book of Boba Fett coming out, there is probably no other Star Wars character that is more fun to potentially have in that show to be a foil to Mr. Fett, other than Han Solo.
There's no doubt about it.
No.
So when I first saw this, I immediately went back to the news about Shamook.
Yep.
And I never would have imagined that, you know, right here, like, so let's talk about the rumor. The rumor has a couple different points to it. One rumor is that he has actually penned a contract to be in future Lucasfilm projects. The next thing is that he has been seen on set for the Book of Boba Fett or Mandalorian. Well, I'm going to assume, since it's something that happened lately, I would think. I would think it would be Mandalorian, but it makes more sense that it would be in the Book of Boba Fett.
Potentially, yes. Or it's hard to tell. They also may have he may have been on set recently as they were filming, but while they were filming Book of Boba Fett, but the intention is to use the footage in Mando season 3. I think it's one of those things when you have an actor at that level of Mr. Ford, you basically get him whenever you can get him.
So, yeah, there's no doubt.
Yeah, if he said, now, of course, you know, they've been filming Indy 5. They do a lot of work at Pinewood Studios, which is a huge partner with Lucasfilm over the years. You know, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Hey, look, just can you come in and film it? Whatever's good for you. Whatever. We don't care. We'll be there. You know, that that kind of thing. So we'll see where it pans out. But I'd love to see him pop up in, you know, final episode of Boba Fett. I think that'd be freaking awesome.
So, like, I just had this thought, and for those of you who are watching this, Valiant and I just did a video on this very subject over on his channel. So, and they're by no means the same video. Like, what I'm about to ask Valiant about right now, I just had this thought. This just happened.
Perfect.
So we know that The Mandalorian, the Book of Boba Fett, and Ahsoka, that all of these stories are going to come together and they're going to culminate in some type of grand finale.
Theatrical, cinematic finale, from what we understand. Yeah.
What if, Valiant, what if, you know, we didn't get our heroes back in the sequel trilogy? What if we get them back in that?
I think it's totally plausible. I think, again, meshing the fan perspective with the business perspective, it was not a cry in darkness when fans were dismayed, utterly just crushed.
Yeah.
At the prospect of having no chance and never having, even in the first movie or any of the sequel trilogy movies, where those core characters were on the screen together.
That's right.
It never happened. It is honestly, it is one of the greatest cinematic storytelling failures of all time.
It's a travesty.
It was absolutely a travesty. It was absolutely, you took the most valuable piece of intellectual property and the characters that drove it and just completely ripped them apart. I think if again, that fan outcry was so loud that there's no way Disney can ignore it. And I think they will go back and they will try to do something to correct that, because as I always say, if Disney thinks they can really make a bunch of money doing something, they're going to do it.
Valiant, I have to assume that now I'm obviously biased.
Mhm.
You're biased. We're the same age.
Yeah,
We're only days apart.
12 hours apart.
Yeah. So, but I have to like, I couldn't imagine. I could not imagine if we get some type of finale for this series, this Filoni Favreau verse,
Mhm.
and you have the original characters back, deep faked with Shamook. They're de-aged. They look outstanding.
Mhm.
They are back. The only thing that's missing would be somebody to do Carrie Fisher's voice, which I know can be done.
Sure,
And and they got the programs now that can copy her voice.
they can do it.
So if we get that, that would make more money to me than anything the sequel trilogy did.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, I think even with fans knowing that it's not the original actors, just because, let's face it, life happens.
Oh,
They
sure.
got older. It's hard to do this, and they can't recreate what they did in that same time era. It's going to be, probably a few years before that, but they can do it.
Hmm.
And I think if somebody like Favreau is leading that, if they do it gracefully and they do it respectfully, that's the
Oh,
most
yeah.
important thing. Is that yes, yes. I mean, it will sell like hotcakes. People will love it, and but they have to do it right. And I just find it interesting that Shamook, again, he has de-aged Mark Hamill. He redid the Mando season 2 ending.
Hmm.
He has de-aged Han Solo, Harrison Ford. He also redid the final scene of Rogue One with Carrie Fisher.
Hmm.
So it's all
So,
there, folks.
so let's talk a little bit about the business end of it.
Mhm.
This was a guy before he got hired at Lucasfilm. This was a guy that was sitting in his home office just like you and I.
Yeah.
And the magic that guy creates doesn't cost a whole lot of money.
Well,
He's
at the scale he's doing it, no. Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
So with that technology, it seems like it's way more cost beneficial. And now he has the tools that Disney can provide to do it even better.
Yeah, it's basically my opinion, folks, is that it is Shamook's talent level. You put that with the budget and the money and the resources of an ILM, Industrial Lights and Magic, which is obviously part of Lucasfilm. He can do some spectacular stuff. He's got some amazing potential. And yeah, I think it totally makes sense. You bring a guy like him in. This was kind of the Lucas vision, man. You find the most talented people and you let them work.
Hmm.
And ILM, at least, not talking about Lucasfilm in general, that's maybe another conversation, but ILM, Industrial Lights and Magic, obviously still has that same core element that I think Lucas left them with, was that you go out and you can find talent wherever it exists and bring it in. And they were obviously not afraid at all to go
Hmm.
pick up some little nobody YouTuber and say, "Oh my lord, you do some amazing work. Come work for us."
And that little nobody YouTuber is going to have a hand in saving this franchise.
He just may. I mean,
Yeah.
they obviously brought him in because of the work that he did. I mean, his biggest YouTube videos were of him de-aging Mark Hamill and him de-aging Harrison Ford.
Yeah, if
Heck,
you
he
go to
even
his site today, it's Mark Hamill is the automatic video to play. That's the
millions,
biggest one.
millions of
Yep.
views, millions of views. So yeah, my hats off to ILM making that decision. That was a totally George Lucas type hire.
Yes,
I
it
thought it was
was.
great. I thought it was awesome. Yeah.
And now there are no limitations to what they can do. Now it's just about putting the stories together.
Yeah, and
So,
there's no reason they can't bring that technology they've spent 20, 30, 40, 50 million in post-production on Indy 5 that they've
yeah.
already built for Harrison Ford and simply move it over
So,
to Star Wars.
yeah, so let's talk just for a
Mhm,
second. There's a lot of people who have, and we talked about this on your channel as well.
mhm.
There's a lot of people who are so scarred by the sequel trilogy. I kind of let it all go. I was angry after The Last Jedi. And I walked into The Rise of Skywalker having no expectations, and my only goal having watching that movie in the movie theater was I'm not going to leave angry. No
Mhm.
matter what. I'm not if it's terrible, I'm going to laugh. If they somehow pull this off and make it great, then great. Well, it wasn't great, and I wasn't mad when I left. I was just, and that's the only time I've ever watched it, was that one time in the theater. But if Valiant, if we're getting a young Han Solo, I mean, think about it. The last live action Star Wars we got was Chapter 16, Luke. It was a year ago this coming Saturday.
Yep.
Now we're getting a young Han Solo. If that happens, and this is the time period 5 years after Return of the Jedi. This is a heroic Han Solo. This is before the divorce. This is before all this stuff. You know what I mean?
I don't think that's going to happen again.
I
in the
don't
new
either.
Timeline.
Yeah, I don't either.
I really don't.
And Admiral Akbar will be the leader of the whatever the rebellion will be called, the New Republic, I guess. But whatever. But
You mean
is
not purple hair?
Yeah, that's right. So should we have hope, Valiant, that we might be getting a young Han Solo that's heroic, just like the Luke that we got in Chapter 16 of The Mandalorian, and it's going to be in the Book of Boba Fett or The Mandalorian very soon?
I think the probability, especially from a business side, is extraordinarily high. Again, because they've already done the work to de-age Ford for Indy 5. I believe, after reading the news today, it makes absolute perfect sense that, it could be something as simple as Jon Favreau saw the news about what they were doing with Indy 5, right? He's not involved in that.
Right.
You're doing de-aging? Wait, I got a question. And he went down the hall to Janet Lewin over at ILM, the general manager at ILM, and Rob Redow, and said, "Hey guys, can we piggyback on this? Because y'all have already got the construct. It's easy to move it over." And since it's Favreau doing it, Favreau's not going to trash Han Solo. Favreau's made no bones about his level of fandom for Star Wars over the years. Now, granted, he's kind of been working up to a certain point, maybe with a few handcuffs on, but we've obviously seen in the last couple of years those handcuffs have started to disappear, and now there's news that they may be running the theatrical end of Star Wars movies, which I totally believe, because if I'm Alan Bergman, who's the chairman over 6 Disney studios, including Marvel and Lucasfilm and Pixar and all this other stuff, I got one studio that hasn't gotten a single movie, a Star Wars movie, into pre-production in over 5 years, and that's Lucasfilm.
Well, that's so funny. That's actually was the next question I was going to ask you, and you just answered it.
Yeah,
what
well,
would you say? What would you say to the people that would say there's no way that Kathleen Kennedy would allow any of this Han Solo stuff to happen? That this is just a rumor.
Technically, she ultimately doesn't have a choice, because if somebody, you got to remember, everybody out there, I know it's like, okay, Kennedy got renewed or she didn't get renewed, but she's still there, whatever. That doesn't matter. At the end of the day, the only thing that matters is, and this is what we've talked about so many times with these rumors with Star Wars, Kathleen Kennedy, Lucasfilm is not an independent organization, guys. It's owned by Disney. Kathleen Kennedy, just like Kevin Feige, has a boss. And that boss's name is Alan Bergman. Alan Horn is 78 years old. He's retiring at the end of the year as chairman of Disney Studios. Bob Iger is going out the door with him. We have a new CEO, Bob Chapek. We have a new chairman of the board coming in, Miss Susan Arnold, who is a financial guru from the Carlyle Group.
That's mainly about money and not about anything else. Yeah.
These are investment people. And at the end of the day, the job, if I'm Alan Bergman, my job is to make sure that my studio heads, and this is just simple business 101, are cranking out, in this case, sellable product, specifically theatrical content. It's one thing to make a Disney Plus show, because Disney Plus says, we're going to order a show from Lucasfilm. We're going to write a check from Disney Plus to Lucasfilm for $100 million to make Mando Season 3. That's an accounting shift inside Disney. They're moving $100 million from this Disney account to this Disney account. Theatrical revenue is outside external revenue. That's new revenue coming in from an audience, right? That's not Disney Plus internal revenue. That's what they need. And there's only one studio that hasn't gotten a single movie into pre-production in 5 years, like I said, and that's Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
Indy 5 is Indy 5. So there's plenty of stuff that Kathy can go do. Indiana Jones, she's doing the Willow series. She's talking about this little independent film, Blood and Bone. I don't remember the name of it. There's other projects out there at Lucasfilm besides Star Wars. I totally believe that Alan Bergman kind of walked in at one point after all the directors and producers that have walked away from Kathy, and this is not fiction, that's reality. We know this for a fact.
Right.
And they just said, "Okay, John, you got to get this done because we need to get some content going. We need to get sellable content in production and back in theaters because Disney's idea was to build Star Wars out in the same manner as the MCU. That has not happened.
No.
They need somebody to do that. And who was the guy who was the architect for the MCU? It's John Favreau. Here we go.
That's right. The original. That's right.
Yeah. You know, so.
Well, guys, you take that business sense that Valiant just talked about, and then you couple that with what John Favreau said, the water cooler talk. If you're not giving the fans what they love, then you're not doing your job. I think it stands to reason. We're going to get a young de-aged Han Solo. He's going to be heroic. He's going to be the one that we want to see. And I think that's really good news. So, guys, if you have not already, make sure that you go and subscribe to my friend Valiant Renegade here. Got a great channel. He covers all things entertainment, business, financials. He puts the two together in a beautiful way. So go and do that. And thank you guys so much for being here with us at Echo Base Network. Make sure that you like the video, comment, let us know what you think. That's really important to us. Let us know what you think in the comments. Nick and I will engage with you guys there. So that's going to do it for us. As always, for Valiant Renegade, for Nick, who's not in on this one, I'm Coach. We are, you are Echo Base Network, and we'll see you guys on the next one.